at the conclusion of this this news event that is now going live. There we go. All right, we are about 2 minutes early, so I'm just going to vamp just a little bit until we hit the 9 o'clock hour to make sure I give the audience the opportunity to get on. But this is going to be our number one, our very first Dog News Live that we're going to try to host every Saturday at 9 o'clock. Now, as we get into this a little bit further, it may change. We may change the schedule. We just want to make sure and give the opportunity for our viewers to know when we're going to have our Dog News Live broadcast, so we can talk about some of the things that are happening in the dog world. And we're going to visit all kinds of things: police dogs, detection dogs, pet dogs, training, all that kind of thing. And we're going to discuss some of the things that I think are important to discuss about each one of the news topics. And then what I'm going to do, the articles that I'm going to be using, I will post on our Facebook page. So if you want to learn more or see the pictures that are associated with those things, with those articles that I'm going to be bringing to your attention, you can find those on our Facebook page right after the broadcast. I will go ahead and put the links up and you can see them there. And again, my job is going to be to kind of give you my points of view on some of the issues that may be brought up within those articles. And so you just get an idea of who I am and why maybe you should even listen to what I have to say or even care. I've been in the dog business for about 30 years. I've been training police dogs, bomb dogs, narcotics dogs, and now pet dogs for all those 30 years, and own a company called Falco K9 Academy. And so if you go to Facebook and search for Falco K9 Academy, letter K number 9, you'll find our Facebook page there. We have videos on YouTube, on Vimeo, and I've written 5 #1 best-selling books, and do public speaking and speaking events. As a matter of fact, part of the news I wanted to tell you is that on May 7th, I will be speaking in the city of Orange at the dog park there at 9 o'clock. Now, I just got through telling you that we are going to be doing these things at 9 o'clock on Saturday mornings. I'm going to have to change the time either of the broadcast, or I'm going to ask for permission to broadcast live from the dog park. I think I can do that. It's going to be outside, so what I'll end up doing is doing it from my phone. Yeah, you can still do that. I'm just going to get permission and make sure that that's possible, that we can actually do that kind of stuff. And so that's one of the things. On our Facebook page, we have a giveaway going on. If you want to go there, it's called a Hurricane, which I didn't bring one in. I should have done that. It's a Hurricane, and it's a dog toy. But if you go to our Facebook page, you'll see it there. And if you search down far enough, you'll see some videos of our dogs using the Hurricane. It's a brand new dog toy. The thing is fantastic. It sends these little discs out about 100 feet. The dogs love it. They like the aspect of it flying through the air, and they chase it down and either jump and grab it out of the air, or when it hits the ground and tumbles, that really turns the dog on. He grabs it and comes back and brings it back to you. And so I really think it's a really, really cool tool, and really like it. But the reason I was bringing that up, if you go to our Facebook page, you can get one for free. It's possible. You just have to enter into the sweepstakes. And then if you share with your friends and family on Facebook, and somebody also enters into the contest, you'll get a second opportunity to win that prize. So the more people you get into the sweepstakes, the more chances you have to win. So let's say you get 5 people in, you have 5 more chances in addition to that one other chance. That gives you 6 chances to win that Hurricane, brand new, still in the box. All we're going to ask you is, once you win it, we'll ask you where you want us to ship it, and we'll organize a way to ship it to you. Or you can come and pick it up if you're close by here in Yorba Linda, California. All right. The other bit of news. Oh, I had a meeting with a major network the other day who asked me to produce a show on a major network. Almost at the network. We had this discussion, and right now it's so new in production. We're casting it and we're getting it ready. Line Pictures is the production company that is putting it together, but we've had a heck of a good time putting that all together. We contact the network that is requesting the show. We had a meeting with them, and we had people in that meeting from all over the world, and a very, very good discussion. So we are moving forward. They're budgeting for the TV show, and they're getting prepared. So that's another news article based on what we're doing here at Falco K9 Academy. All right, so we did our Facebook page where we have a sweepstakes going on. We're going to post the articles that we're going to be talking about here on our Facebook post. So right after we're done with our broadcast, you can go ahead and look for those links, and you'll be able to see the pictures associated with the news that we're going to be bringing up and talking about, and maybe even some more stuff. We may even add some more stuff. I want to keep this limited to right about an hour. Today, I'm not looking for sympathy, but I have the flu, and so I just got here. I just crawled out of bed and came here. You can probably hear it in my voice. I'm a little hoarse. And so I'm going to last as long as my body will last me and not force me to run off the camera here really quick. And so it may be a little bit shorter than the hour. And I really am sad to say that on our very first one, but I want to give you the reasons why. It's not because I don't want to. It's just I might not be able to stand here in front of the camera much longer. So I want to take us down to Mill Creek. Mill Creek is in, now it doesn't say, it's Deseret is the name of the news, Deseret News. If somebody could tell me either on Periscope or on our, I don't have the chat open. Here, let me open up the chat. So let's open up the chat. If anybody knows where this Mill Creek is, I should have looked before I got on, but again, like I said, I just got on. Let's do it other places I talked about here. Maybe it'll tell me. Yep, I'll see it. It just says Mill Creek. So in Mill Creek, this is about a dog who was shot and killed during a SWAT deployment. And I just want you to listen to the heroics that are involved in this. And I'm going to read most of this article because it's very, very interesting. And I'm going to talk about my take on on police dogs. If you don't know, as a police officer with the city of Anaheim for 24 years, I was a canine handler. I then became the trainer and trained other police dogs for our city, and then began to train dogs for other cities. One of my dogs that I trained for the city of Palm Springs was actually shot and killed when he was saving the life of his handler in a shootout with a gunman. The gunman in that case was eventually shot. All right, so in Mill Creek, a police canine was shot and killed late Wednesday, leading to a 4-hour standoff before SWAT team took the suspect gunman into custody. Aldo is the name of the dog, so it happens to be that's the name of one of our trainers here. Aldo, a 7-year-old Belgian Malinois, was carried from the house by his owner after being shot. Unified Police Lieutenant Lex Bell said, and died from his injuries a short time later. The alleged gunman, David Shane Anderson, 36, of West Jordan, remained in critical condition Thursday afternoon in a local hospital after being shot by officers, Bell said. The incident began about 11 p.m., and we're talking about this last Wednesday because these are brand new articles that I'm pulling off the internet. When a group of officers from Taylorsville, so far no cities that I recognize, Taylorsville precinct went looking for Anderson, a fugitive suspect of ramming a police car last week while fleeing, Bell said. The officers had both an arrest warrant and a search warrant in hand. The officers arrived at 4303 South 730 East and began searching the house about 11:30 p.m. As 3 officers were checking one of the rooms, Aldo indicated that someone was hiding inside, Bell said. And that is the job of the dog. Even though sometimes, in most cases, when we're searching for somebody with police canines, it is for a dangerous suspect. Now, this suspect obviously has shown that he's been a danger. So far, a very good use of the dog. They did not know where the suspect was. They're in there with the dog. They didn't just send the dog in to fend for himself. So far, good deployment, good SWAT deployment with the canine. All of the insides. I'm so sorry. 4 other people were inside at the time of the shooting. Also ran out after an exchange of gunfire. Bell said that they were being questioned by police, but had not been arrested as of Thursday morning. Hold on, let me get a drink. Hopefully that'll help. By 3:30 a.m. Thursday, after several hours of trying to negotiate with Anderson, the SWAT team threw tear gas into the room where he was believed to be. Bell said when he didn't come out, SWAT team members moved in. They found Anderson in critical condition in the bedroom. Aldo had been with Unified Police Department for 5 years. He was a dual-purpose canine. Dual purpose is when a dog is used for both searching for narcotics and patrol work. In other words, used to bite people or search for people. So that's dual purpose. It's almost exactly the same to us. They train, sorry about that. For the law enforcement community, having a canine shot and killed in the line of duty is similar to losing a regular officer, he said. It's almost exactly the same to us. They train with us every time we train. They work every night we work, Bell said. West Valley Police will investigate the police shooting. Anderson had a large criminal history in Utah. This is in Utah. Figure out what state this was in. And it goes on to talk about donation to the Unified Police Department for purchase of new canine, a bulletproof canine vest, or general dog supplies can be made at any Mountain America credit union under Friends for UPD Canine. Bell said bulletproof vests for canines are typically 3 times more expensive than those for humans. All right. So what I was talking about earlier is that I believe that this is a really good use of the police canine. I don't see anything wrong in this. Where I have issue with a police canine being used in a SWAT deployment or even just a regular police deployment is when they know, say, for instance, in this room, this is a very small room we're in. I know it looks like a gigantic studio. I know that, but it's not. So if we know that somebody flees and comes into this room, we simply know they're in this room because there's only one door and it's right there and it's on the way out. If we know the person is armed and dangerous because either he shot at us as we were chasing him, or he, showed us a gun or whatever. If we know the guy is armed and dangerous inside this room, the dog is no longer useful. We know he's inside this room. Even if I have 3 other rooms here, up 2 bathrooms, and then another closet over here, even if he's hiding there, it does us no good. What the dog will do is go to the door, and the suspect will shoot the dog through the door. And so, right in that aspect, I don't think that's a good use of the dog. Another use of the dog that I don't like is when they send the dog under a house when they know the guy is underneath the house. Because what's going to end up happening is the dog's going to go underneath the house and bite the guy. But the dog is not strong enough. He's maybe 80 pounds at best, maybe 100 pounds on the heaviest side of a police dog. And yet he's still not going to be able to pull out a 180-pound man. 150-pound man. It's just not possible. The guy's going to hold on to either one of the support beams that are underneath, or he's going to brace himself. It is not going to happen. And I've seen way more dogs stabbed and shot underneath a house than any other probably deployment that there is over the years of doing this. So that's my take on that one. And my best of the handler. I don't think it has the handler's name here. No, it just says the handler. Let's see if it says in the thing, and you'll see it in the article. And if you want to send a note to Mill Creek, Utah, for this officer, it looks like a young guy. Dog Aldo looks like a beautiful Belgian Malinois. This article will be on our Facebook page. So on Facebook, go to Falco K9 Academy to see that article. Good use of the dog. An unfortunate situation where this dog got shot in a SWAT deployment, but doesn't happen as often as you think. Now we hear of it. And so overall in the United States, based on the number of dogs that are in service and are deployed on a day-to-day basis, being shot is not very common. However, I have another article here. And where'd it go? Here it is. And this is a killer picture on here. It's in New Zealand. They actually have the dog draped in the New Zealand flag at the memorial service, and you can see the dog on this picture. And you'll go to our Facebook page and see this particular picture. But the dog's name is Gaza. A 4-year-old German Shepherd was shot during a siege in Pororia on the North Island last Friday. The police dog was killed by a man called Pita Takira, a former prisoner who'd been on the run after throwing away a bracelet being used to monitor him while he was on bail. He'd been holed up inside a house for 26 hours before being found dead. As well as the police dog being shot, a policeman was seriously injured after being forced to jump out of a second-floor window to get away from Pita Takira. Wellington District Commander Superintendent Sam Hoyle said, despite all the efforts and negotiations, Mr. Takira to seek a safe and end to the incident, officers found him dead at the scene. This is certainly not the outcome that anybody wanted. I'm going to get down here. The dog, Gaza, was bred at the Police Dog Training Center at Trentham in New Zealand. Now, that's really unusual. We don't often not that often do we find police dogs that are bred by the police department themselves. I know all the dogs that I've sold over the years and all the dogs that we've purchased it from other vendors at about 1.5 to 2.5 years of age, and then we train them for the police department. We don't go into the breeding part of things. The reason being is because we never know how a dog's going to turn out. So a dog is born, and several dogs, like 7 or 8, are born, and the aspect of one out of that litter becoming a police dog is small. It is possible, but it's small, and we don't want to have to, if our budget is for one of those dogs to be a police dog, it's really difficult to guarantee that. So we could raise these dogs for about 8 months before we really see if any of them are going to be police dogs, and then if they're not, then we give those dogs away. We have another litter, and then we raise those dogs, and hopefully out of one of those dogs, maybe 2 of those dogs can actually be a police dog that can be trained to bite. It is not that usual for a dog to be trained to bite. Dogs don't like to bite human beings unless they're fearful or scared for their safety, or protecting some part of a home or a house. So to find a dog is very, very difficult. So this breeding program, wow, I would really love to someday go to New Zealand and see this breeding program, because they must have some really great, talented, genetic dogs that are just producing great police dogs that are able to do this. He graduated as an operational dog. This is Gaza, operational dog in the late 2013 with his handler, Constable Josh Robertson. Gaza was choked by an offender last year after tracking him for more than 2 miles through Wellamata outside Wellington. Now, these names are difficult. Tracking is a thing that dogs can do, and we've seen this in our dogs and our pet dogs when they go out in the front yard and they put their nose on the ground and they're following it to find out where that cat went or that squirrel. And tracking is a natural instinct for dogs. Now, in the use of police dogs, what we want to do is train the dog to follow a specific person. That's the person that we take them to last stepped. Right? You see these things on movies where they give they have the dog smell the hat and they go find that person. It doesn't really happen that way. What the dog is done, what we do with the dogs is we take them to the location where the person that we are looking for last stepped on the ground. So let's say, for instance, in a burglary where a suspect jumps out of a window, and we can kind of see the footprints as they leave from the planter outside the window. You can see it in the mud or the dirt or something like that. That's where we would start our dog. And what we've trained the dog is that when we give you that footstep, that's the odor, that's the person we want you to start to follow, because everybody smells different. So as I'm walking away from the scene of a crime, my track is going to smell different than yours, whoever's watching, right? So if you're watching and you step on that same portion and you begin to walk away, your track is going to smell different than mine. And that is how we train the dogs to track. And we train them to do it for our purposes, which can be difficult. And so this dog being trained to track somebody for 2 miles. You know how far that is for a dog to track? That dog is smelling the ground constantly for 2 miles. Not easy. Those dogs are really in good shape. What I found interesting is the animal is the 24th New Zealand police dog to have been killed on duty. That seems really high for not that big of a country. I'm gonna have to. I may have to find a way to check the stats about how many police dogs are killed in the United States. But for such a small country, 24 just seems really high. Maybe New Zealand's more violent than we think it is. He's the most recent, however. The last dog that was killed before Gage was 2010. They suggest if you want to see the tribute, you go to the New Zealand Police Facebook page, and they have a tribute to Gaza on that page. So it doesn't give us too many details on how this dog was shot, but and I'm not saying they did anything bad. I'm just saying there are some situations where we send the dog that we probably shouldn't, and we want to be careful. If we know somebody is armed and dangerous in a particular location, the dog again is not useful. He actually is more likely to be killed in something like that. All right, a couple more before I sign off, as I'm beginning to lose my voice. And this is an article out of, let's see if I can get the refresh here. out of, wow, my internet is really slow. I must be using all of the resources here in this thing. Oh my gosh. Well, it's not coming up. Let me find it. I'll find it in this other way. All right. So what this talks about is that do dogs like to be hugged? Here it is, your dog. And somebody did a study. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's actually a fairly long article. And it says here, when you hug your dog, it might not be making the pet as happy as it makes you, according to one dog trainer's expert's observations. Stanley Coren, a retired University of British Columbia psychology professor, wrote in Psychology Today that hugs should be reserved for two-footed folks instead. Give your dog a treat, a pet, or a kind word, he said. His opinion is based on observations and a review of 250 images of people hugging dogs posted on Google and Flickr. Corin scored the photos based on whether he could judge the dog showed one or more signs of stress or anxiety. If the dog appeared relaxed and at ease, if the dog's response was ambiguous or neutral. I can summarize the data quite simply by saying that the results indicated that the internet contains many pictures of happy people hugging what appear to be unhappy dogs, Corin wrote. The results break down to 81.6% of dogs showing signs of discomfort, stress, or anxiety. Only 7.6% of the dogs seemed comfortable with being hugged, and the other 10.8% of pooches were neutral or ambiguous in the contact. Corin said to look for these subtle signs that may indicate dog is anxious. The dog is turning his head away, submissively closing his eyes, licking its lips, or has its ears down. Some dog behaviors say a full body embrace immobilizes the dog and increases the animal's stress level, which could lead the animal to bite. So first of all, before I address this article, the barking you hear outside is because my office is in a kennel. Add some legitimacy to our Falco K9 Academy brand, right? We are actually broadcast from a kennel, and what's happening right now is they're cleaning the kennels, and so you hear a lot of activity as the workers go through the kennels and begin to clean them. All right, so let's talk about this hugging thing, and I think mostly the article is right. I know, sad to say, because and I'm going to look at it from the aspect of these dogs that are taken out into public, and the owner allows them to be hugged by people and children in the restaurants they take them into, the parks, the Starbucks, the coffee beans they go to, and say, hey, can I touch your dog? And then suddenly this kid comes up and hugs the dog. I do agree in that moment that dog is probably in stress. Dogs are pack animals. They really connect with their human beings and who is in their home. And really, it is not a good idea to have anybody hug your dog when you're outside your home. So that may seem obvious to some of you, but I've seen it way too much. I've seen many people allow their dog being hugged by other people. And I would say ixnay on the hugging. All right. So the greatest thing that you can do, the greatest service you can perform for your dog to build trust with you is that you manage the people that visit your dog. So if you take your dog out on a visit, give direction. People respond well to direction, right? They understand that dog is not theirs. And some people's inclinations are to grab the dog by the face and pull the dog's face up to their face. I have a picture of a case I'm working on right now where a woman got bit in the face. I'm not saying that's what she did. I'm just saying that's the place that gets bit because that's where people put their face with the dog. They put their face right on the nose of the dog, and that is not a good idea. Right? Especially a dog you don't know. Because trust is built over time, the dog does not trust that person that's hugging them. Now, you got Labrador retrievers that jump on you and want to be so close to you, that kind of stuff. And you have some other breeds that really want to be so close to you. Again, that is the owner's responsibility to train their dog not to do that, strangers. Because in some cases, that may be a type of passive aggressiveness from the dog. They're actually trying to push that person away. It's a weird thing, I know, but these dogs sometimes are in a mode where they're jumping on them to try to get them away. It can be misread. And so just better, train your dog, have them dogs stay in a sit. Say, before you hug my dog, the dog needs to be sitting. And would you please not hug them because it makes them feel very uncomfortable. Give direction to the people. It's your responsibility. If you take your dog out of your house, which I recommend you do, and you take them on walks and you take them to places, it is your responsibility to the dog first. in our classes at Falco K9 Academy, what we do is we have this thing where you're walking along, and then we have you greet somebody else that has a dog. And the responsibility, I always tell all of our students, is that the dog is first, right? Make sure your dog, when you come to a stop, is in a sit. Make sure that your dog is in a down. Make sure your dog is under control before you make contact with the human being. I can see somebody just said, hey, but my phone is so far away, I can't see what it says. That's your responsibility. I really put the responsibility on her. So many people let their dog out in front of them, and they see, oh, he's okay. You can touch him. You know, you can pet him. No, the dog can be stressed. The dog can be put in a situation that it doesn't want to be in. Sure, maybe the dog is happy to greet that person and smell whatever odors they have on their pants at the time, right? They want to smell the cat, the dog, it's not that person's pet, but they didn't give the okay to be hugged or molested by the person that they're approaching. All right. And so when that happens, that's your fault, right? It's your fault if the dog decides to bite them, right? So be very, very careful. This hugging thing, I kind of like it, right? I know it's going to upset some people because what about therapy dogs that are taken to the hospitals? We train those dogs for that thing. We prepare the dogs for that thing. And we also have to manage it, right? We have to see the signs of licking the lips, the signs of yawning, the signs of the dog smelling the ground, the signs of the dog looking for an avenue of escape, all need to be recognized by the human being, right? And when the human being, who's the therapy dog handler, sees those things, it's their job to get that dog out of that situation. So if it's an embrace, or if it's maybe just somebody the dog doesn't like, every dog has that one person they don't like. I've seen it with every dog. Every dog has that one person. It could be the person wearing glasses or a hat. It could be a person that just doesn't smell right. It could be a person that just doesn't seem to fit into the circumstances for where the dog is, right? So this hugging article really brings to mind some things that I think this guy's kind of on the right track. I'm not sure that it's very scientific by going on the internet looking at pictures, right? Because we all, I have pictures that I take, and I don't put up the pictures where I can see the dogs in stress. So it can be skewed. It's skewed based on what people are putting on the internet, which is flawed, I think. Right. So I don't know that his numbers are correct, or the basis that he did. I don't think it's scientific, but it needs to be considered. Also, dogs don't like to be patted on the head. Right. We see this all the time. Somebody comes, oh, look at your dog. It looks, and this person that the dog doesn't know is suddenly wrapping them on the head. Right? How does that feel? How would you like it if you walked up to somebody and go, and instead of shaking your hand, they patted you on the head? Right? Dogs, I'm telling you, most dogs don't like being patted on the head. They may like a soft stroke to the head or along the back, but that pounding on their head, most dogs don't like that. So don't do that. All right, stop doing that. Good articles. A couple of, please, not all my dog stories are going to involve dogs being shot and killed. I just thought that these happened to jump out at me, and really wanted to address some of the issues that have to go along with those particular articles. Make sure and share. If you're on our Facebook page and you have this, share this, because after I'm done and close out, it'll be recorded, and you can share it to all your friends and they can get into it. You guys on Periscope that are watching the replay, you tell your folks about Falco K9 Academy. They can subscribe and be notified when we're going to do this. I'm going to try to do this and simulcast both in our Facebook page and on our Periscope when I'm doing these. It's not always going to be possible. Next weekend, May 7th, I will be at Orange Dog Park. If I can get permission, I'm going to be broadcasting live from the dog park. We're going to be talking about those issues and those things that are important to know when you're at the dog park. What is the most important thing? I think some people, unfortunately, believe the dog park is for them to socialize with human beings, because we see that, right? Just like at the playground. Unfortunately, sometimes we see parents who go to the dog park or go to the playground, tell their children to go play, and then they go and socialize, or they begin to Facebook, or they begin to do something else other than pay attention to what's going on with their kids. The playground, the dog park are great opportunities to build socialization skills for your dog, teaching them what it is they're supposed to do. A dog will not learn that on their own, right? They're going to go to their genetics. They're going to go to their fears, and they're going to move into these places in their mind that they can't handle on their own. They need help from you, from their human beings, from their leaders. And we're going to be discussing that at the dog park next week. And so make sure and stay tuned. I'm pretty sure I can get permission to to broadcast live if I just show myself talking. But we're going to be talking about those points about that the dog park is not a place necessarily for human socialization. It can be a good byproduct if you have good control of your dog, if you're monitoring what your dog is doing, and you can stand here and talk to somebody while your dog is doing that and keeping an eye on what's happening, just like you would with children at the playground. You don't let your children go into the playground and then leave, right? But that's what we kind of essentially do on dog parks. Because it's fenced in, we think, well, the dog is safe. No, the dog is not safe from maybe other dogs, right? And so we need to monitor what's going on. And there's training opportunities that are being left out at the dog park. If we go there to tire our dogs out, not just the physical aspect of running around tires a dog out, it's the mental aspect. As a matter of fact, mental tires a dog out faster than physical. So if you can throw in some mental training, force the dog to pay attention to you and the other dogs at the same time. Call your dog in the middle of the dog park and have them return to you. Have your dog do obedience in the middle of the dog park. That will tire your dog out way faster than him running around or her running around the park chasing another dog. I promise you. All right. Mental fatigue happens faster in dogs than physical fatigue. We see it all the time in dog training. All right. So keep that in mind. All right. Well, this is going to end our very first Falco K9 Dog News live broadcast. Well, that's a really long name. I may come up with another name, but that's what it is right now. Falco K9 Dog News, and it's live, and it will be on Saturdays at 9 o'clock. I want you to feel comfortable in joining us and being around. If for whatever reason I can't, I may pre-record something and put it up. That way there is something there at 9 o'clock for you guys to watch. If I know that I'm going to be out of town, because I travel a lot. So I want to make sure that happens, that you have something going on. I hope you enjoyed this particular episode of our new feature here at Falco K9 Academy. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, or you have anything that you disagree with what I say in our Facebook page, feel free underneath the posting to write whatever it is that's on your heart about what it is we're doing, but nothing horribly nasty or bad. I mean, but I don't. If you disagree, I don't mind. I want to see that, and I will do my best to respond in a timely manner. All right. So go to our Facebook page, subscribe, be a part of our group, be part of the growth. If you have some news, if you are a dog organization, if you are a dog rescue or shelter or anything related to dogs, you have a dog walk coming up, I want to be able to make sure and advertise your dog walk or your dog event, or your if you have a brand new need, if you have a need for a dog that has some particular health issues and you have like a Kickstarter campaign, let me know. It may be something that we're going to want to feature here on Falco K9 Dog News. All right. All right, again, I know I keep trying to sign off, but I keep thinking of stuff to talk about. Oh, I was going to tell you about the platform, what I'm using on Facebook. On Facebook, it's called 22 Social, and it's allowing me to do broadcasts live in our Facebook feed. And so if you want to know more about it, it also allowed me to do the contest that's on our Facebook page. It's called Sweepstakes. So I'm giving away that Hurricane K9. That's part of 22 Social. Great platform. Getting to know the guys over there by through some help of my friend Jim Butts, who introduced me to this product, and now I've been introduced to the owners, and we're going to be doing some talks over the next couple of days to get to know each other a little bit better and see, those of you that are in the dog business, how we can help you in understanding some of the new technology that's out there that will help you in spreading the word about your product and that kind of stuff. Also, just one more thing, if you want to be interviewed during our Dog News Network broadcast, you can just let me know. And there's going to be a way, I know on Google Live that there is a way that we can do that. I just don't know how to do it at this second, but we will find a way to do that, and that'll be fantastic too. So lots to do here on Falco K9 Dog News. All right, now for sure, I'm signing off. All right, guys, I will talk to you later. Take care. And those of you on Periscope for joining us and watching the record, I will talk to you guys later. Make sure and subscribe to us on Twitter. All right, take care.